Hello, dear folks. Welcome to the show, Jack Chow on East West with G&E TV. Looking back into the last election, which is November the 4th, Tuesday, I feel proud that I walk out. I casted my vote on every candidate I feel that I can trust from head to toe, all the way. So I feel proud of that. And I put the sticker, I voted, right in front of my dashboard, and I look at it. I feel proud, being an American. Once again, I feel like swimming in the whole system of democracy. Even though we're not perfect, we are the best, right? So for that, we owe this system to our founding fathers of this great nation. We owe our politicians ever following after, who did not break the rules, who followed the rules. And still today, we're talking about the same rules. Talking about election rules, there is some retrospect to make. Joining me today is my good friend, a candidate for the 48th District of Assembly House of California, Mr. Joe Gardner. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack. And hello to your folks out in TV land.
All right, good. I know it's still too early to say congratulations to you or say anything else to you yet, but how do you feel, your take about the overall of the election this time, please?
I think we did a lot of things different this time that were favorable to us. Mm-hmm. Although we're not sure if we've won yet.
We're talking about overall picture, right? Okay, good. Go ahead.
As you know, nationwide,
yes.
The GOP won in a number of states and now have a majority in the U.S. Senate, which is very good because for once I think we're going to see hopefully some constructive changes.
Sure.
The people have spoken, and the GOP has been given a mandate to do the right thing by the people, and so. My hope is that they listen to what happened on Election Day and carry out their duty.
Very good, very good. And to my audiences, exactly, I myself feel the beauty of the democracy, of the bipartisanship. The bipartisanship check and balance thing. I mean, even within the House and the houses, they do balance themselves. If you would look back 6 years, when Obama first won the election as President of the United States, the whole country was so much tilted to the left. Mm-hmm. Do you think so? That's a fact?
No, that is a fact.
Right.
It did occur.
Yeah. And also, there had been some official declaration saying that the GOP failed somewhere, somehow, right? In a big way, a big time. Yes. Now, during the past 6 years, while people on the left are trying to make a point that they want to make, the GOP is picking up, right? While GOP is picking up, the country is facing more and more challenges. So failure after failure in meeting of the challenge, though, GOP grows up, right? And they reunite themselves, rearrange themselves, both ideologically and strategically. Mm-hmm. Do you think so? Now it's a comeback. Do you think it's a comeback?
I think what took place represents a hunger by the voters, by the citizens, who really want constructive change. And I think they thought that Obama was going to be that change. Remember, the whole campaign was built on hope and change.
Change was, yes, we can, were the big slogans.
Right.
And still these days, people, the words are still there, still spelled that way, but they smell different.
Yeah.
It spells that way, but smells different. So that's the problem right now. Talking about GOP restructuring themselves, I'm so glad that you use the word structurally, right? So structurally, they are making a comeback, resume the majority of the Senate House, and the Representative House still the same way, yet there are more members. Do you think so?
Yes.
The last count.
Yes, it is. I think it was 7+ seats. Some of them are going to go to, one or two of them are going to go to runoff at the end of this month or the beginning of next month. And so they may even garner a few more seats after it's over with. But yeah, no, I think it represents a desire for the American people to really want the government to do something.
Understand me right, though. I'm not a partisan person. I take no side.
Right.
And especially on the job as a media man, you have to play neutral. You have to always stand in the middle of the road. You're not taking any, right? So this is my thing. My whole point is that I feel so happy after going back and forth, they're dragging over and over, back and forth, because that indicates the balance. No one can be the number one forever.
Right.
Well, it's your time, or either your time or my time or our time, something like that, right? So now is the moment of thinking about. Last night at the film show. You know, we have the film festival thing that you missed on the election day, right? Yeah. You were originally scheduled to come, right? But anyway, understood. During the screen, one of the screen, I met with a friend of mine, Marine at Sea. And she was one time the regional director of Labor Department of United States in California. And she said to me, "Hey, Jack, you know what? We made a comeback." Yeah, excitingly. When she says we, use the word we, applied word we, I mean, I understand that she refers to themselves. Right. And it could also be she's taking me inside her own picture, say we as a group win. Right. As a matter of fact, this winning, left side winning or right side winning is winning. It's benefit to the country, right?
Right.
So, okay. So, how do you feel about the state level, though?
Well, there are still a lot of things to be concerned about. You are absolutely correct. You have to have balance in any governing body, legislative body, because then that's when the will and the work of the people gets done. Unfortunately, for these past several years, we've been suffering through extreme partisanship.
Yes, exactly.
That has put the people's agenda on the back burner.
Okay.
Very urgent needs like the economy, making sure that we have oil independence, reforming the tax system. Those are all important issues that seemingly decade after decade put on the back burner because of partisanship. So I think, as I feel like, just like any other person who voted, is a sense of optimism that finally, hopefully, that we have an opportunity to bring in some real reforms and to work in the interest of the people.
Good.
That's not so here in California, unfortunately. California still is in a state of unbalance in the legislature. So my concern about that is that you will continue to see very partisan liberal efforts on the part of Democrats in the legislature to push through their agenda. And some of those agenda items are very extreme. Environmentalism, a social agenda or architecture that is still not going to address the real true needs of the state.
Okay. As a Republican, though, maybe, of course, we're going back and forth between federal and the state before we touch the local, right? And I need still to check with you. As a Republican, though, what's your take on the immigration reform?
I think it's an important issue to deal with. It has to be done correctly. We have laws on the books that have been on there for decades. I mean, what did we do in the 30s? We had immigration laws and regulations. Unfortunately, we have an administration that doesn't want to enforce those laws and regulations as they should be. The laws are there. They're not being enforced as they should be. I believe that we have a huge problem because of its neglect. We have anywhere from 12 to 20 million people here in the United States that came here illegally. You need to address that issue. Very important.
And also, that is not a partisan issue. No. Am I right?
You're correct. Absolutely.
Right. And that's your take too. You don't take it as a partisan issue, right? Okay.
If done appropriately, you can correct many parts of the economy. You can bring people above get them to pay taxes, to participate in the process of becoming citizens.
Exactly. So given the fact that Obama was in power, has been in power for only 6 years, right? Given the fact that the 12 million undocumented were not accumulated, were not happening overnight. No. They were accumulated over time, right? And back then, you're talking about George H.W. Bush, right? George W. Bush 43, and then 42, and you're talking about 41, George H.W. Bush, and it goes on and on. From that point, right after George Bush 41 did one time, took care of it. Ever since then, Bill Clinton, George Bush 43, till Obama. So never, no attention was given. So that's the fact, right? Okay, very good. There are also issues that almost a federal issue as well as a state issue. That's energy. Right. I know energy is an issue of both, especially in Southern California or in California, though, as a whole, energy issue is a big one. So, what's your take, a Republican take of the energy issue so far?
Well, I'm hopeful that the Republicans will push through this effort to authorize the XL pipeline. I think that would be a very good thing to do for our economy. It would allow us to have energy independence from foreign countries. We would have more stable fuel prices, which in turn affects everything, from food to delivery of goods, because trucks use fuel. So I think there's a real opportunity there to, if they do it correctly and they authorize this XL pipeline, it would create, one estimate I've heard is at least 200,000 jobs along that corridor where the pipeline comes down to the Gulf of Mexico from Canada.
All right, yes.
So it's a great opportunity to put people back to work. In California, we would always be hopeful that
especially they would. When job creation was the only thing we're missing, the most important thing we're missing, right?
Right.
Okay, very good. Back to my audience today in the show, talking about the past election. We're doing a retrospective discussion of the election and the consequences and the concept and everything so far, so on and so forth. Joining me is my good friend, Mr. Joe Gardner, a candidate and almost a winning candidate of California, 48th District of the Assembly House. So stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk about what happens, what is happening, what's the status of his campaign himself for that position. So stay with us.